Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about a very important topic for personal taxation, which is Enterprise Investment Scheme or EIS. Now, don't worry if this sounds technical. By the end of this video, you will understand not just the rules, but the logic behind why the scheme exists, how it helps the taxpayers, and how HMRC looks at it. So, first of all, what is EIS? EIS is a government scheme designed to encourage individuals like you and me to invest in certain companies. Why? Because when companies are young or innovative, they struggle to raise money from the banks. So, to motivate private individuals to invest, the government says we'll give you more tax relief on your investments. There's also a small version which is called as SEIS, which is a seed enterprise investment scheme, which is targeted at very small early stage companies. So straight away we see three perspectives here. One, one is the individual investor who will invest in the company, because he will get, what is the benefit to him? He will get a tax break or tax relief. Then second would be the company, because company will get the money that it needs. And who would be the third person in the picture? That would be HMRC. Why? Because company is ultimately getting the money, individual is paying the money to the company, and in return for paying the money to the company, the individual is getting tax relief by HMRC. So what is the HMRC will give up some tax now, but the hope is that in the long run there would be successful companies who will create more jobs, will pay taxes and boost the economy. Now let's read about this. EIS is a scheme which encourages individuals to invest in certain companies by giving income tax relief on the amount invested. SEIS aims to support small early stage seed companies which often have difficulty in assessing equity finance. Now, qualifying investments are eligible for income tax relief as well. An individual may claim both SEIS and EIS relief in the same tax year. Many of the detailed conditions in relating to SEIS mirror the EIS conditions, which we will be studying in the later part of this chapter, so I'm not explaining this right now. Now, what is EIS? What is Enterprise Investment Scheme? Let's understand how EIS relief works. If you invest in a qualifying EIS company, you have to subscribe for new shares, meaning the company issues shares directly to you. See, here it is. By subscribing the shares, we mean that the company is issuing new shares to the investor. Now, why new shares? Because if the company will issue new shares, in return investor will pay money for that, which means ultimately the money will go to the company. But what if it is the shares of somebody else? Now the new individual is purchasing it, that the individual who is selling these shares will get the money, and it is not the company that is getting the money. So that is why there is a condition that the company is issuing new shares, and when the investor is subscribing to these new shares, only then he can get EIS benefit. Now, tax relief. Tax relief, how do you get? You can claim income tax relief on the amount you have invested, but maximum 1 million pounds. So what is the amount of relief that is available? The amount of relief available is 1 million pounds, which is the maximum amount, or the amount that you have invested. But since this relief is from the tax liability and not from the income tax, so a portion of this will be given as relief, which means 30%. So the flat rate of 30% will be shown as a tax reducer. Now let's read this. Tax relief is available in respect of lower of the amount subscribed or 1 million unless there is investment in a knowledge extensive company. Now knowledge extensive companies would include companies which are working on R&D, etc. The relief is given by way of tax reducer at a flat rate of 30%. The maximum amount of income tax relief that an individual can receive where there is no investment in a knowledge extensive company is therefore 30% maximum relief that the company can get. But in case it is a knowledge extensive company, then this 1 million will be replaced by 2 million pounds. Can be invested in companies which are not knowledge extensive is 1 million, but if they are knowledge extensive, then 2 million is the maximum amount that you can invest, and the tax reducer on this will be 30%. So why does this matter? Let's understand that, the reasons behind this. For the individual, it makes investing in risky startups less scary. Yes, definitely, because when the individual, let's say, is investing even 100,000 pounds, and let's say hypothetically his tax liability comes out to 45,000 pounds. Let's say this is just 40,000 pounds tax liability. This is a hypothetical example. Then if he has invested in EIS, let's say he has invested 10,000 pounds, then what is the relief that he will get is 3,000 pounds directly from the tax liability, and not from, there will be no deduction in the income, rather there will be a deduction from the tax liability, and 37,000 would be the relief that the individual would be getting. Now, how is it beneficial for the company? Because it is easier to attract the investors, and for HMRC again, they target support for R&D and innovation, and these are the areas which push the economy forward. Now, there could be certain restrictions and claims also on this. What could be these restrictions and claims? There are limits. The tax relief cannot be more than your actual income tax bill. Now, what do you mean by this? Let's say your income tax liability itself is 10,000 pounds, but the relief you're getting is 15,000 pounds, say for example. So, can the tax liability be zero? No. Can the tax liability be negative? No. This relief can be maximum available up to the amount of tax liability. So, the maximum relief that you can get is up to the limit of tax liability. This cannot be a negative figure. The maximum tax could be zero. But if you have paid more tax via PAYE, then in that case, refund is possible. Now, let's read it. The tax reducer is limited to individual's tax liability for the year. That is, EIS relief cannot create a negative figure for the tax liability. The tax liability can be reduced to nil by EIS relief, leaving tax deducted at source, for example under PAY, to be repaid to the taxpayer. Most claims for EIS relief will be made via self-assessment tax return. Yes, you have to make it via self-assessment tax return, otherwise you won't be able to claim that relief. But the benefit is that you can claim it up to 5 years after the 31st March following the end of the tax year in which the shares are issued. So, if the shares are issued in, let's say, 2021-22, so the tax year for this would be, the self-assessment of this has to be filed by 31st January 23 plus 5 years, which means 31st January 28. You can claim the relief maximum till here, which means even if you couldn't take the relief in 23, then again in 24, 25, 26, 27, you can claim it till any of the years, which is 31st January 28. But you have to show a proof also that yes, I am actually investing in these shares, in this EIS scheme. So for that you need a certificate which is called as EIS 3. A claim cannot be made unless a certificate EIS 3 is issued to the investor by the company. This cannot be issued until the trade has been carried on for 4 months. Why 4 months? Because HMRC thinks that it will take around 4 months for the company to start its business, to start trading activity. So that is why 4 months, after 4 months time, the certificate can be issued to the investor. Now, next, another interesting feature is ability to carry back the relief. Normally you get relief in the year you invest, but you can elect to carry it back to the previous year as well, as long as you didn't already use it up to 1 million's limit. For example, you invested, you subscribed for 2000 pounds shares in September 2024, but you couldn't use this limit in 24-25. Now what you can do is you can go back and amend the tax return for 23-24 and use this limit in 23-24. So the carryback relief is available only for 1 year, because you can file the return of this year up to 31st January 25, and amended return for this year also till 31st Jan 25. So yes, this can amended return, and this is the original return. So that was the first topic of EIS, which is Enterprise Investment Scheme. We studied what is EIS, what is SEIS, then what is the limit of EIS and SEIS, which is 1 million for the companies and 2 millions for the knowledge extensive companies. EIS gives individuals a big tax incentive to invest, which is 30% of the amount subscribed or maximum 1 million. Then it helps the companies to raise funds to innovate and grow. And from HMRC's perspective, it is a trade-off, giving tax relief today for bigger economic benefits tomorrow. So that's why this topic is important both in real life and for your examinations also. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with any tricky tax topics that you would like me to cover next.